Hey guys, it's Terry, and I'm trying to do this by myself, so forgive me going back and forth. Um, but anyway, my PowerPoint was on bicuspid aortic valve, um, and that's me. My last one was 18 minutes, sorry, so I'm definitely going to try to keep this a lot shorter. So some information about bicuspid aortic valve, or BAV, is the acronym for that. What is it? So, because we've been in class for so long, in school for so long, and our teachers have taught us so well, we know that the aortic valve usually has 3 leaflets. But in the bicuspid, of course, bi means 2. So the bicuspid only has 2 leaflets due to possible fusion of the 3 original leaflets. I know that's kind of shining, the sun's shining in, which is great, but it's on the TV, and I'm sorry about that. But so they're thinking that may happen by fusion of the 3 original leaflets while in utero, or while someone's pregnant with you, or whoever has the bicuspid aortic valve. So it doesn't just affect the valve; it also affects the aorta. So So what does it look like? This is a picture of our heart, of course, and this is where the aortic valve normally is. This is the normal picture, what it should look like. And there's several variations. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the actual term for those, I guess, bicuspid aortic valve with the associated numbers. I thought that it always looked like the end one, because that when I've seen it in clinic, that's all I've ever seen. But I learned something new from this presentation, or my work on this presentation. Who gets it and how do you get it? So 2% of the population supposedly has a bicuspid aortic valve. It's 2 times more likely to occur in males than females. The specific cause is unknown, but they have seen some relation between a connective tissue disorder like Marfan's and the occurrence of the bicuspid aortic valve. I didn't look to see the percentage of that, I'm sorry, but there is some relation they found. It's congenital in nature, again, so you're born with it. 20 to 30% of family members of someone with a bicuspid aortic valve will also have a bicuspid aortic valve. So first degree family members need to be tested as well, or have that looked into. And that's my last point there. So symptoms and related problems, like other things, you may be asymptomatic for a long time, especially, at least into adulthood. So what you may hear, someone that comes in and you find that they have a bicuspid aortic valve, they may have said, well, I had a murmur as a child, and that's what it was. They just didn't look into it. But the older you get, the more problems you're going to have, so you're probably going to find it later on in life. So some of the symptoms you may hear about, or some common relation to a bicuspid aorta valve, is the regurg or stenosis. Those are the 2 things I kept seeing over and over. That's what you're going to see a lot with bicuspid aortic valve. And the murmur, of course. And also the aortic aneurysm. So that seems to be the top things reported right there. You're also going to have an issue maybe with endocarditis, abnormal coronary arteries, an enlarged heart, unstable blood pressure, or a weak pulse in your wrist or ankles. A physical exam, frequently it's a silent condition, so it's not going to be caught on to very quickly. And again, you may not have symptoms. So general exam findings, you're going to go to the doctor and get checked out, and you'll be fine unless you have something going on that draws their attention to your heart. So I did have a video, which I'll show you at the end, of what the murmur sounds like. It says it's a systolic ejection click, which you can kind of pick up on. I was not able to figure out how to show that on my TV here, so we'll do it after I'm done talking. So it says it's heard in all phases of respiration, this murmur, after the first heart sound, and timing does not vary with maneuvers such as Valsalva or squatting. The echo, when you complete that, like we're going to be doing someday, abnormal eccentric coaptation line. So I guess the meeting of the cusps actually is kind of off center. Systolic leaflet doming, abnormal pattern of systolic opening. You can also have a hard time seeing the bicuspid aortic valve because of a couple of things: severe stenosis and cuspal fusion secondary to inflammation. So I guess if it's the valve or cusps are really inflamed, it's going to be hard to tell if there's only two there. Echo images, I have a few here. So here's this eccentric line, just pictures from our book that they're talking about. And then also you're going to see the systolic doming of the cusps there. That's the main thing I noticed. Also, they talk about this fish mouth appearance in some of my videos at the end. That's very obvious. That's just what it looks like, is a fish mouth. So that's pretty cool. Discussion, 30% of people with the bicuspid aortic valve will develop some pretty severe complications such as heart failure or the aneurysm or dissection. It's important to keep on top of this. They'll keep looking at this depending on like the size of the valve and how quickly it progresses as far as the bicuspid or the issues with the valve. That will vary on how frequently they recheck you, and these are some reasons why I'm here. So to evaluate the function of the heart, to measure the aortic diameter, and see how the chamber dimensions are in the functioning. They used to recommend the prophylactic antibiotics before surgery, like dental or medical physical surgery, but as of 2007 they changed that, and you don't have to do it anymore unless you have a history of the endocarditis. Treatment. So let me make sure I didn't skip one. Yeah, no, I didn't. Treatment. So it depends on how bad it gets. I read somewhere, and I thought I had it in here, but like 80% of the people with it will end up having to have some sort of surgical intervention. So some of those could include the aortic valve replacement, balloon valvuloplasty, aortic valve repair, surgery on the aortic root or ascending aorta. And then prevention of the problems you can have with bicuspid is control your blood pressure, good dental hygiene, again because of the endocarditis, and maintain cardiovascular health, doing the good things, diet, cholesterol, and exercise, which is good for everybody. Summary, so some high points, at least that I took away from this. So it's got the bicuspid aortic valve has 3 or 2 cusps instead of 3. Simple. They can vary in appearance, so 5 different appearances or presentations, and they're according to that number. That's like part of the official name as far as I know. So it's congenital with an unknown cause. Specifically, it affects the valve as well as the aorta, can be asymptomatic for years. An initial problem presentation will commonly be aortic regurgitation or insufficiency, aortic stenosis, or systolic ejection, click murmur. There's my sources. Okay, hang on. So I'm going to get my phone and bring it over here to show you some things. Sorry. Okay, hang on. It's coming. So here's some of my videos. It tells you a description there. So parasternal long axis diastolic prolapse of the bicuspid valve is evident during diastole. The coaptation line of the aortic leaflets is markedly eccentric and is displaced closer to the posterior margin of the aorta, which you can see it kind of going closer here to the posterior region. In full systolic opening, the leaflets are parallel to the concentric margins of the aorta. So you can tell it's really going wide there. It's opening really, really wide. This one, peristernal long and short axis views, shows the coaptation line of aortic valve is eccentric and toward aortic anterior wall in diastole. So this one is up a little higher, or going toward that anterior wall. Shows a lot of regurg, or well, no, I'm sorry, not a lot, but a trace amount of regurg. And then some 3D images. So this is where you're seeing that fish mouth. See, that's definitely what it looks like. And the last one, even more so, a little baby fish mouth. So that's my images. And then, uh-oh. So this is what it sounds like. Hopefully you can hear it or turn the volume up on your computer. Sorry, hang on. Okay, so that's it for me. Again, I'm not, okay, so sorry. It's good to talk to you guys. I enjoy seeing your,
Hi, I'm Rex Moore with The Motley Fool.
It's good to see your videos because I miss your faces, and I hope everyone's doing well.